Let's talk about something most men get completely wrong: chasing women. That's the topic today. We're breaking down why you should never chase women, and why, if you truly understand female psychology, you'll realize the power move is to make her chase you. Now, I know that already sounds controversial. Good. It's supposed to. Welcome back to the channel. If you're a man who's tired of being ignored, left on read, friend-zoned, or feeling like you're always the one trying harder, this conversation is for you. Today we're going to challenge everything you've been told about going after what you want. Because when it comes to women, chasing is usually the fastest way to lose. Here's the uncomfortable truth. When you chase, you lower your value. Not because you care, not because you show interest, but because most men overdo it. They text first every time. They rearrange their schedules. They overcompliment. They try to impress. And in doing so, they communicate one thing without realizing it: I need you more than you need me. And that kills attraction. Female psychology is not complicated, but it is different from male psychology. Men are attracted to what they see. Women are attracted to how they feel. And when you chase too hard, you remove the mystery, the challenge, and the emotional tension that creates those feelings. This video is not about playing childish games. It's not about ignoring women or being cold. It's about understanding dynamics. Attraction grows in space. Desire builds when something isn't fully secured. If she feels like she already has you, fully, completely, without effort, the excitement fades. Most men are taught to pursue endlessly, to prove themselves, to convince. But high-value men don't convince. They attract. They focus on their mission, their purpose, their growth. And when they show interest, it's measured, calm, controlled. In this video, I'm going to show you why chasing pushes women away, how attraction actually works, and what to do instead. Pay attention. This might completely change how you approach dating forever. 1. Chasing signals low value. Let's get straight into it. The first reason you should never chase women is simple. Chasing signals low value, and most men don't even realize they're doing it. When you constantly initiate every conversation, reply in seconds every single time, double text when she doesn't answer, or cancel your own plans just to be available, you are sending a silent message. That message is, you are the prize. I am trying to win you. Now listen carefully. There is nothing wrong with showing interest. The problem is over-investing too early. When you invest more time, more emotion, and more effort than she does at the beginning, the balance shifts. Attraction thrives on mutual curiosity. If she feels like you're already sold, already hooked, already waiting, there's no challenge left. And without challenge, there's no excitement. Women are naturally drawn to men who have options, purpose, and self-control. When you chase too hard, you communicate scarcity. It feels like she's your only opportunity. That pressure is unattractive. It makes interactions feel heavy instead of fun. Instead of being the man who chooses, you become the man who hopes to be chosen. Here's where most guys get it twisted. They think, if I show her how much I care, she'll appreciate it. But attraction doesn't work like appreciation. Appreciation comes later. Attraction comes first. And attraction is emotional, not logical. If she senses that you are more invested than she is before she's earned it, her interest naturally drops. Imagine this. You meet a woman and have a great first conversation. The next day you text her 5 times before she replies once. You compliment her constantly. You tell her how different she is. You're available every evening she suggests. What happens? At first, she might enjoy the attention, but very quickly, she starts feeling like you're too easy to access. There's no mystery, no space, no tension. And slowly, her responses become shorter, less frequent. Eventually, she pulls back. That's not because she's cruel, it's because attraction needs balance. When she has to wonder a little about you, when she has to initiate sometimes, when she has to invest too, that's when she feels engaged. High-value men don't chase. They show interest once. They make intentions clear. Then they lean back and observe. If she meets them halfway, great. If not, they keep moving. That calm detachment is powerful. It shows self-respect, and self-respect is always attractive. 2. Women value what they earn. Now let's talk about something most men ignore. Women value what they earn. And if you make everything easy, automatic, and guaranteed, you remove the emotional investment that creates attraction. This is where so many men sabotage themselves without realizing it. When you chase, you give away attention freely. You give away validation freely. You give away your time freely. You make it clear that she doesn't have to do anything to keep you interested. And when something costs nothing, it's rarely valued. That's human nature, not just female nature, human nature. Think about how you feel when you work hard for something. A promotion, a goal in the gym, a business deal. It means more because you earned it. The same psychology applies in dating. When a woman has to put in effort to get your attention, to earn your time, to keep your interest, she becomes more emotionally invested. But when you chase, you remove that process. You answer immediately every time. 3. You're always available. You're always ready. You reassure her constantly. There's no uncertainty, no risk of losing you. And without the possibility of loss, there's no urgency. You've probably experienced this before. At the beginning, she seemed very interested. She texted first. She asked questions. She leaned in. But once she realized you were fully hooked, fully committed to pursuing her no matter what, her energy shifted. Suddenly, you're the one initiating everything. You're the one carrying conversations. You're the one wondering what changed. What changed is simple. The challenge disappeared. Attraction often grows in the space between two people, in the wondering, in the slight uncertainty. When you chase aggressively, you collapse that space. You remove the tension that creates emotional curiosity. And when curiosity dies, interest slowly follows. This doesn't mean you play games. It doesn't mean you ignore her on purpose. It means you allow room for her to step toward you. If she likes you, she will invest. She will ask questions. She will initiate sometimes. She will make time. High-value men understand this. They don't over-pursue. They don't try to convince. They create opportunity and then observe. If she steps forward, they match her energy. If she pulls back, they don't panic. They don't chase harder. They stay grounded. When a woman feels like she is choosing you, not just being chosen, her attraction becomes stronger. And that only happens when you stop handing yourself over without effort. 3. Scarcity creates attraction. Here's another truth most men struggle to accept. Scarcity creates attraction. When something is limited, it becomes more valuable. When something is always available, it becomes ordinary. And if you are always available to her, you slowly become ordinary in her eyes. That's not harsh. That's psychology. When you chase, you make yourself predictable. She knows you'll text. She knows you'll reply instantly. She knows you'll say yes. She knows you'll wait. There's no mystery, no curiosity, no tension, and attraction feeds on tension. Think about the early stages when you weren't fully invested yet, when you had your own routine, your own focus, your own priorities. You weren't glued to your phone. You weren't analyzing every message. You were living your life. That energy is powerful. It signals that your world does not revolve around her. The moment your world starts revolving around her, the dynamic changes. Now she feels the pressure. She feels watched. She feels like the center of your emotional stability. And that's heavy. Most women are not attracted to men who feel emotionally dependent too early. They are attracted to men who are grounded and busy building something. Scarcity doesn't mean disappearing for days to manipulate her. It means having a life. It means having standards. It means not rearranging everything just because she is free. When she sees that your time is valuable, she values it more. When she sees that access to you is earned, she respects it more. You've probably noticed this pattern before. When you pull back slightly and focus on yourself, suddenly she becomes more curious. She reaches out. She wonders what you're doing. She feels the shift. That's not a trick. That's natural response to reduced availability. People move toward what feels limited. High-value men understand this deeply. They don't flood a woman with attention. They give it in doses. They allow anticipation to build. They let her miss them a little. And missing someone is a powerful emotion. If she never has the chance to miss you, she never feels your absence. And if she never feels your absence, she doesn't fully appreciate your presence. Scarcity builds desire. Constant chasing destroys it. If you want to stand out, stop being constantly available. Build your life so full that she has to fit into it, not the other way around. 4. Chasing kills mystery. Let's talk about mystery. Chasing kills mystery, and mystery is one of the strongest drivers of attraction. When a woman doesn't fully know you yet, when she's still figuring you out, her mind stays engaged. She wonders. She thinks about you. She tries to decode you. That mental engagement builds emotional connection. But when you chase too much, you reveal everything too fast. You text all day. You overshare. You explain your feelings in detail before she's even earned that level of access. You make your intentions overly clear in an anxious way. And suddenly, there's nothing left to discover. You become predictable. And predictable is comfortable, but it's rarely exciting in the early stages. Think about it. The beginning of any attraction is fueled by curiosity. She's asking herself, who is he really? What's he about? Why is he so calm? That curiosity keeps her invested. But if you're constantly chasing, constantly explaining yourself, constantly trying to reassure her of your interest, you remove the questions. You answer everything before she even has to ask. When there are no questions, there's no chase on her side. And when she's not chasing at all, she's not emotionally investing. You've probably been in situations where you told a woman too much too soon. You opened up heavily. You showed all your cards. And instead of deepening the connection, something felt off. She pulled back slightly. Not because vulnerability is bad, but because timing matters. Mystery is not about playing games. It's about pacing. It's about letting layers unfold naturally. High-value men understand this. They don't rush to impress. They don't rush to confess intense feelings. They allow conversations to breathe. They allow silence. They allow space. They let her ask questions. They let her earn deeper access over time. When you chase, you rush the process. You try to fast-forward intimacy, but real attraction builds slowly. It grows when two people are discovering each other step by step. If she already knows exactly how you feel, exactly how available you are, and exactly that you're not going anywhere no matter what, the emotional tension drops, and without tension, there's no spark. Let her be curious about you. Let her wonder a little. That wondering is powerful, and the moment you stop chasing, you give mystery room to exist again. 5. Desperation is loud, confidence is quiet. Now let's get real. Desperation is loud. Confidence is quiet. And when you chase too much, you might think you're showing passion, but what she often feels is pressure. Pressure pushes people away. Calm confidence pulls them closer. When you constantly seek reassurance, constantly ask where you stand, constantly try to lock things down too early, it signals fear of loss. And fear is felt. You may not say, "I'm afraid to lose you," but your behavior says it for you. Double texting, over-explaining, apologizing for small things, trying too hard to impress, that energy feels unstable. Women are naturally drawn to emotional stability. They want to feel safe, not responsible for managing your anxiety. When a man is confident, he moves differently. He expresses interest once. He sets a date. He shows up. He enjoys the moment. If she's responsive, great. If she's distant, he doesn't spiral. He doesn't panic. He observes and adjusts. That calm reaction communicates strength. Imagine this. You ask her out and she says she's busy this week. The desperate response is to immediately offer 5 other days, explain how flexible you are, and reassure her you're free anytime. The confident response is simple. No worries. Let me know when you're free. Then you go back to your life. No pressure, no overreaction. Now here's what happens internally. When you stay calm, she feels the space. She realizes you're not clinging. You're not begging for attention. You have other priorities. That subtle realization increases respect, and respect is a foundation of attraction. You've likely seen the opposite happen. The more a guy tries to force closeness, the more distant she becomes. Not because she dislikes him, but because forced energy feels uncomfortable. It feels heavy. Confidence, on the other hand, feels light. It feels steady. It feels attractive. High-value men understand that they don't need to convince someone to like them. They don't chase validation. They don't overextend themselves to secure attention. They offer their presence. If it's appreciated, they continue. If not, they withdraw with dignity. That mindset changes everything. When you stop chasing from a place of fear and start moving from a place of self-assurance, women notice. The tone shifts, the dynamic shifts, and suddenly she's leaning in a little more. Not because you begged, but because you didn't. 6. Over-pursuing creates emotional imbalance. Let's break this down clearly. Over-pursuing creates emotional imbalance, and imbalance is the fastest way to destroy attraction. When you are always the one calling, always the one planning, always the one checking in, always the one pushing things forward, the relationship becomes one-sided before it even begins. That imbalance feels subtle at first, but over time it becomes obvious. You start feeling like you're doing more. You start wondering why she's not matching your energy. You start overthinking small things, and the more you feel the imbalance, the more you try to fix it by chasing harder. That's the trap. The harder you push, the more she relaxes. The more you invest emotionally, the less she feels the need to. Human nature balances effort. If one person is carrying everything, the other naturally carries less. You've probably experienced this. At the beginning, everything feels mutual. Then slowly, you notice you're the one keeping conversations alive. You're the one asking deeper questions. You're the one trying to create momentum. Meanwhile, she responds, but she doesn't initiate much. That dynamic didn't appear randomly. It often started the moment you began over-pursuing. When you chase too much, you remove her need to step up. There's no space for her to show effort because you've already filled it. Attraction grows when both people lean in. When only one person leans in constantly, it feels uneven. And uneven dynamics create frustration. Emotional imbalance also affects how she sees you. If she senses that you are far more emotionally invested than she is, she may start to feel pressure. That pressure makes her withdraw slightly to regain comfort. And when she withdraws, you feel it and chase more. The cycle continues. High-value men break that cycle early. They pay attention to reciprocity. If she initiates sometimes, they respond warmly. If she plans occasionally, they appreciate it. But if they notice consistent one-sided effort, they pull back instead of pushing forward, not to manipulate, but to restore balance. Healthy attraction requires equal participation. When you stop over-pursuing, you allow her to reveal her true level of interest. If she steps up, you know it's genuine. If she doesn't, you save yourself time and energy. Chasing might feel productive, but in reality, it often creates the very imbalance that makes attraction fade. Balance keeps desire alive. Over-pursuing slowly suffocates it. 7. Most men chase because they lack purpose. Now we're going to get uncomfortable. Most men chase not because the woman is extraordinary, but because they lack purpose. That's the truth many don't want to hear. When a man doesn't have a strong mission, goals, or direction, he makes women his focus. He makes dating his hobby. He makes texting her the highlight of his day. And that shift in focus changes everything. When your life is empty, you cling to whoever gives you attention. You overvalue small signals. You overreact to delayed replies. You obsess over where you stand. Not because she's perfect, but because you don't have enough going on for yourself. That's not attractive. It's dangerous for your growth. Women are naturally drawn to men who are moving somewhere, men who are building, men who are improving, men who are disciplined. When you are deeply focused on your mission, you don't have the time or emotional energy to chase someone who isn't reciprocating. You simply don't tolerate low effort. And here's the hard part. Many men say they want a high-quality woman, but they are not becoming high-quality men. You want loyalty, beauty, intelligence, support? But are you building strength, stability, confidence, direction? If not, why would she chase you? You can't demand value without creating it. Chasing is often a distraction from self-work. It feels productive. It feels like action. But in reality, it's avoidance. Instead of hitting the gym, building skills, increasing income, expanding your network, you're refreshing your phone waiting for her reply. That's a wake-up call. If your mood depends on whether she texts back, you've already handed over your power. That's not dominance, that's dependency. And dependency kills attraction. You don't need to hate women. You don't need to ignore them. but you do need to put your life first. Build something real, create standards, develop discipline. When your world is strong, you won't feel the urge to chase. You'll naturally attract, and if she walks away, you keep building. Because your purpose is bigger than one woman, men need to wake up. Stop making women the center of your existence. Make them a complement to a life you're proud of. When you shift that mindset, everything changes, and suddenly you're no longer chasing, you're being chosen. Let's end this with something that might shock you. If you have to chase her, you've already lost. That's the controversial truth nobody wants to say out loud. Attraction that has to be forced isn't attraction. Interest that has to be convinced isn't genuine interest. The moment you feel like you're running after someone, trying to prove your worth, trying to secure their attention, you've stepped out of your power. And here's the part that stings. Many men don't lose women because they're not good enough. They lose women because they try too hard to be chosen. They overextend. They overgive. They overchase. And in doing so, they erase the very traits that made them attractive in the first place. Calmness, confidence, direction, self-respect. Stop believing that more effort automatically equals more attraction. It doesn't. The right woman will not need to be chased into liking you. She will meet you halfway. She will invest. She will show up. And if she doesn't, that's information, not rejection. Use it and move forward. Build a life so strong that chasing becomes unnecessary. Focus on your purpose. Strengthen your mind. Improve your body. Increase your value. When you become a man with standards and options, the dynamic changes naturally. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever chased someone and watched the attraction fade? Or have you pulled back and seen her come closer? Drop your experiences in the comments. I read them. I pay attention. And I reach out. We're building a community of men who are waking up and leveling up together. Remember this, the man who chases validation loses it. The man who builds value attracts it.